Guys, today is a special day as we gonna see Dr. Patty, the surgeon that created this wonderful hairline here, and we have a little interview with her. So stay tuned. So today I'm here at Hairtran with Dr. Patty. She created this wonderful hairline here, and I have a few questions for her. Let's just jump directly into it. Maybe you can introduce yourself with a real name, because I know people know you by the name Dr. Patty.
Okay. ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you so much. Nice to meet you here again, Ben. And my name is Pukpinya Jangjetriew. It is difficult for foreigners to pronounce my name, so please call me Dr. Patty.
Yes, great. Yeah, thanks for having me again. It was honestly an amazing ride for me. My story is from social media. Everyone seems to love this hairline. I do so as well.
They love you.
Yeah,
not just your hairline.
Both maybe. But no, I'm honored and grateful to make this journey and come back to you here and answer a few questions for me. This would be great, and not only for me but also for you guys. Let's jump into it. Can you maybe tell us a little bit how you get into hair restoration? I find this really interesting with doctors. Sometimes they have a completely different background.
It's actually happened by chance. Like 10, 15 years ago, hair transplantation is a very small field in Thailand. And at that time, I was working in aesthetic medicine, like Botox filler, stuff like that. And our clinic happened to share a reception area with a hair transplant clinic. So I had an opportunity to see some of their clients. One day, I saw a gentleman. He was very quiet. He barely spoke. He avoided eye contact. And like any other people with hair loss, he never took off his cap. And surprisingly, just 6 months later, I saw him again, the exact same guy, but this time he looked completely different. Like he stood taller. He even smiled at me. I mean, like a stranger. He smiled happily and he looked much more confident. That moment stayed with me, and I realized that hair transplantation is not just about the appearance. It can change how people feel about themselves. And from that time on, I wanted to be a hair transplant surgeon.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I think, it's a great story because confidence is so well connected.
That's right.
When it comes to hair. Even for me, like it was a kind of small procedure, but it made a huge difference in my life, honestly. Yeah, that's great.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So how long has that been? Like you're in the field for over 10 years?
Yes, that's right. It's been more than 10 years now. Time flies. But honestly, I still feel like I'm learning every single day because every patient is so different. So different goals, different challenges. And that's what keeps this field so exciting.
And I guess, the most that brings you joy in this field is also giving people the confidence back, right?
That's right. Like helping people to feel more confident about themselves again. It's really rewarding. Hair transplant doesn't save lives, but it can change lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so happy to be part of it.
That's great. That's great to hear. So that's a really interesting question, especially when it comes to hairline. And I wanted to know from you, because you're an absolute specialist, and what really separates a natural looking hairline from these, sometimes really straight lines that we see out there. What is the secret, so to say, of a natural, not maybe your secret, but a secret of having or creating a natural hairline like that?
So to me, natural looking hair transplant should be the one no one notices at all. So they should not admire your transplanted hair. They should admire your appearance in general. In order to create that, we need to focus in many tiny details, like the angle, the direction, the density, and also the hair texture. And most importantly, designing the hairline that looks perfectly well for the age and the face of that very person. So nature doesn't look perfectly straight always. Real hairlines have irregularities, but the irregularities vary between patients to patients. So ironically, if we try to make it look perfect, the more artificial it looks.
True.
So actually, I do not have a secret because everyone is different. So it means if I start from a template, it will look the same. No two hairlines should be exactly the same. So what I start with is the person sitting in front of me. I carefully check the original hairline if there is any. If there is not present there, what I do is I check their old photographs.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good question because a lot of people ask me, should I bring my old photos to the doctor maybe? And I always say, yes, it's good.
Yes.
It really helps, right?
Yeah,
to
it should
restore
be a certain age that you would like to look like or look appropriate for you right now. For example, not when you are like when you were 12 years old, when you were 18, something like that, it is too much.
Yeah.
And another factor I use for determining the hairline is the patient's own preference. Because after all, they are the one who wear that hairline every single day. So I want to make sure that they like it too. I don't want to make my own favorite hairline only. I want to create the best possible hairline for that specific person and make sure they like it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, you're famous now for the zigzag hairlines.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's an interesting question as well because a lot of people now these days think they need a zigzag hairline. Is that something that you created, or is it something that is typical for surgeons that are, like do great work in terms of natural hairlines?
Obviously, I didn't invent it. I was not the very first or the only person in the world who do this. It is like a standard in hair restoration surgery for many years. If you look in the textbook, it's written there. I think the difference is not the technique itself, but it is how each surgeon uses it. Like for me, every hairline is designed exclusively for that individual. So some just need softer transition. Some looks better in a stronger irregular pattern, just like you. So it depends on the patient's base, age, hair characteristics, what looks the most natural for them, and also their preference.
Yeah, that's what I saw with different results. Also,
That's
mine.
right. If you look at my patients, they do not have the same hairline. Like no one's hairline is identical.
That's true. Because some people, they're worried, like, hey, do I get the same zigzag shape? Is it as exaggerated, like for me at least? And I
For
say,
you, it looks good.
yeah.
It doesn't look good for everyone the same way.
Exactly, because I have really wavy hair usually,
Yes, you have
so it
like
blends
darker
in more
hair.
natural. But for people that have extreme straight
Yes.
hair, for instance, you would make probably more subtle.
More subtle, yes.
And I've seen this before, from different results. But yeah. And I know you do DHI with pre-made incisions and with an implanter pen. Yeah, what is the advantage of it? Because I always get the question, hey, should it be DHI? Should it be FUE? I mean, we know FUE is basically the extraction method, but the manual implanting. What's the difference, and why do you think DHI is better in that sense?
Okay, so I think it is better just for me, just my workflow. I like that. I like to split the implantation into 2 stages. So the first one is creating the recipient size, and this is how I focus entirely on the artistic parts of the procedure. So the angle, direction, density, and the overall design. And when that's finished, I move my attention to the insertion part, like the graft handling and the placement. You don't have to worry about the angle, direction, or anything anymore because it's already controlled from the first stage. So separate those 2 tasks make me feel like calmer and more consistent with my work. So why not just simplify it and still deliver the good quality? That is the point. I think like excellent surgeons, they have different way of approach, like different methods of delivering the good results. So I think the important question is not what kind of technique does your surgeon use. It should be, can he constantly deliver the natural results? So this is much more important than the technique.
Yeah, that's a good answer actually, because it's about having the right protocols,
That's
right, that you
right. That's
can
right.
repeat and do over and over again. Because some people or clinics out there, they can deliver a really good result, and then the next ones are really bad because they're always maybe changing teams and rotating and different kind of things. But
Yeah, well, we have tried so many protocols until today. We find out this is the best for us and for our patients. We can shorten time, and the patient don't have to lie for too long. It's not comfortable at all. And in terms of the implanters, the benefits is that it can like protect the graft from getting damaged during the implantation, and that's it. You can use sharp implanters, blunt implanters. You can do pre-med incision or just do direct implantation. It doesn't matter. It depends on the patient's, the surgeon's preference and the team and the workflow.
okay, but I also see an improvement a little bit of when it comes to recovery. It seems to be a little bit faster, less shedding, less shock loss, these kind of
That's right.
things.
It varies though.
Yeah.
But
From patient to
here we
patient.
also do the PRP treatment and stuff, so the recovery is shorter, like quicker.
Yeah, it helped for me at least. Like I could tell it made a difference. And what is the hardest to recreate when it comes to the scalp? What do you think is it a hairline, or is it some people would say, the crown is the hardest part to recreate? Some patient would say that, but doctors usually say hairline is a little bit more advanced, that you need a better skill.
In general, I
Temples.
think two areas that are most complicated for me. The first one is the crown because it has a cowlick. It has a unique swirl that if we do not follow it properly, even though the density is good, it still look wrong. It doesn't look natural at all. And also it includes anywhere that you have a cowlick outside the crown. And the other area that is very difficult, in my opinion, is the temporal points. Because in this area, the hair here, the native hair here is very fine. It also sits very parallel to the skin. So just a different angle, it can cause a lot of like different appearance, and it can stand out because it's an exposed area. You cannot hide it with anything. It is difficult to match the hair from the donor area, which is thicker, to this native hair. So not everyone looks good in the temporal points transplant. So you need to discuss with the surgeon carefully if you should get it done here or not.
That's important because you also recommend me to not go for temples because I have thicker hair in the back and it wouldn't match.
That's right.
And that's what I tell people as well, to not always go for temples. For some people, it is easy. You know, that's
Like some
really
people, they
uncomfortable.
have very coarse hair everywhere,
Yeah.
including the temples. So in that case, it might be okay to do, but we have to discuss person per person. I cannot tell in overall.
Yeah. I see I have really flimsy, thin hair on the sides, so I think it wouldn't match.
That's
Right.
right.
I'm super happy. Like it's not needed. Maybe in the future, who knows? But but I don't want to have it pluggy, so I really wanted to have the natural result.
I agree.
Yeah. But is there a difference from working on Caucasian hair and let's say Afro hair or Asian hair? And maybe you can tell me about how many different kind of hair types you have in terms of ratios or percentages.
Of course, each hair type has its own characteristics. For me, I think the easiest one is Asian hair because the hair is thicker. It always gives the better visual coverage, and the hair is usually straight. So it's easier for me for the extraction and the insertion. And for Caucasian hair, it's usually finer. We have about 60% of Caucasian patients here.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
So they usually have the finer hairs. So we have to pay more attention in terms of density, and also the extraction technique might be a bit different. And for Afro hair, we have very few cases of Afro hair here. It is an extremely challenging hair type for FUE because the curl outside also follow under the skin.
It's like a hook under the skin, right?
Right, that's right. And the follicle is also curved. So nowadays, we are lucky because we have some more instruments. We have more better techniques to deliver the better result comparing to the past. But for anyone who has tightly curled hair, you should choose a surgeon who regularly experienced with this hair type, because it is not just about the instrument, it's also about the experience of the surgeon.
Yeah. Okay.
And in terms of like percentage of our patients, the majority is Caucasians, and then Asians, and then Afro.
Okay. So you do a few curly hair cases. Yeah.
But not like
not
J
the
type, not the C type. S type is okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I get this question also quite often. But yeah, are there actually other things why you would reject the patient? What's the importance of that? Because I also have people coming to me and they're a little bit not upset, but they're like a bit sad and say like, hey, I can't go there. I got rejected, blah blah. Yeah, what is usually the
criteria?
The criteria for it?
Yes. We say no more often than most people expect. And there are 3 situations that I usually say no for the sake of our patients. So the first one is medical condition. Like medical safety. It can be either the underlying diseases, the patient's own condition, or even the scalp problem, or even the active hair loss problem. Anything that you should choose something else rather than to get a hair transplant. So I will say no if the surgery is not the first option for you. The second one is limited donor hair, because we cannot grow hair out of nothing. So if the available donor hair is not enough for the goal of the patient, we have to say no. It is better to disappoint people at the consultation rather than to disappoint them after the surgery.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the third one is unrealistic expectations. So if your goal is you want the hair when you were 18 years old, like hairline, when you were 18 years old while you are 50, we have to say no. And also if you want the density, the teenager density, it is impossible to achieve. So sometimes the best surgery is not to do the surgery at all if we cannot promise the good result.
Yeah, makes sense. What kind of density do you usually go for? And I know it's different with different patients. I think you make 45.
Yeah, in general,
per square centimeter.
we do 45 per square centimeter. Sometimes we do 50, but very rarely. And sometimes we do less than that, 40, 35. It depends on like the area and the donor supply and also the patient's expectation.
Yeah, okay. Because I know a lot of people, they want to have real density and really dense, but oftentimes it's not really good. It also can lead to necrosis and different
I wish I could do that. I wish I could bring back your old hairline when you're 18, but I can't, unfortunately. Yeah, and you know the reason. We don't want to increase the risk of necrosis, the risk of poor growth. It doesn't make sense. We take your hair out, we try to make it grow, but it dies because too much density.
Yeah, it's some people don't understand that. They want to have it so badly, but yeah, it's not oftentimes really good to go for it. And I have to say, like, I'm super happy with 45, and it's a crazy density. Usually, I think we have around 100 with a normal hair
in the back. Yeah, and the donor area around between 80 to 100, maybe up to 120 or something.
Exactly. And it looks really similar to my original density, I have to say. There's no difference.
That is a key. Most people think they need the same density, but they do not know. The appearance is not the same as the density. As long as you have at least 40 to 45 grams per square centimeter, when your hair is long, when your hair is dry, it looks good enough for aesthetic purposes. So do not think about the number that much.
Yeah. What can people do when they have a weak donor area? Maybe you can give them one tip or two if sometimes.
So when we say weak donor area, we will go back and check if we have done everything possible. So if the patient hasn't been on the proper medical treatment, we usually begin from there. Because if we improve the quality of the existing hair, usually it will give the better coverage. And also, if we decide to do the surgery later, the result is usually better as well.
Okay.
But for some people who have very exhausted donor and they are not suitable for the transplants, they might have to consider any other options like embracing the shave look or get the scalp micropigmentation done, or even sometimes the hair system is not a bad thing. It helps you improve the appearance too. So the goal is not the surgery. The goal is to improve your appearance and make it suitable for you.
Okay, yeah. And what is the highest risk you would say when going in surgery for hair transplant? Because some people say, oh, it's easy. I mean, for me, it was easy, but there are risks as well. It's a surgery. What are the highest risks you see usually?
Luckily, hair transplantation is considered a very safe procedure, so medical complication is very rare. However, it is a surgery, so there is small risk of having bleeding, infection, delayed wound healing. What worries me more is not the medical complication. We can fix that, or we know beforehand. And if you are unlucky and you have any allergies or anything, we manage according to the standard protocol for medical treatment. What worries me more is the unnatural result. So if you get it done and the hair grows, but it doesn't grow right, that is a big thing because you have to live with it every single day.
That's true. Yeah.
So that's why planning is very important.
That's why you probably also get some repair cases. I mean, not from yourself, but I guess there are a lot of patients coming to you. They had a surgery before hair transplant and be kind of revision.
To be honest, we rarely have repair cases. I mean, like comparing to primary surgery, but we do have some cases who want to improve the result from the previous procedures. But the most common one is increased density and adjusting the hairline to make it look more soft, like softer and more natural. And another common one, which most people do not aware, is fixing the gap between the transplanted one and the original one because they stop taking medicine after the surgery.
Yeah, okay.
For the wrong direction or wrong angle, that is much more complicated. And also super low hairline, that is much more complicated. It's not as easy as just to add more density and it can look better. No. And sometimes we cannot repair it at all. So you just have to shave it and leave it that way.
Yeah, because oftentimes you would need to remove grafts, right? And not just add grafts.
That's right. I am not very experienced about repair works.
Okay.
I admit that. So I do not remove grafts because it's not just removing it. You have to place it somewhere else. You cannot remove it and put it back into the same hole. You have to remove it and like implant it somewhere else, maybe even on your donor area, and then wait until it heals completely here and then plant the new one again.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you do a super low hairline, it might be impossible to remove it because it leaves scars there.
Yeah.
You might end up getting the laser hair removal done to get rid of it. No way to recycle that hair. So planning is important, as I said.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's good to know. When it comes to women, actually, how much is the percentage of women and men, you would say? You do a lot of women as well, right?
Not a lot. We do around only 10% a year. And most of my female clients, they do not have female hair loss. They want to adjust their like appearance, like lowering the hairline, or they want the better facial balance. So
what is the difference to women's hairlines?
It is, they have women's hairline, but they want it to be more rounded. Or maybe they have too wide forehead, too big forehead. They want it to be lower, but keep the same shape. That is very common. And it is very challenging, apart from the shape, apart from the design. The biggest challenge is to create softness because you know that the hair on the donor is very thick. When we move it to the front, it doesn't match very well with the natural female hairline, which is very soft and short. It is not as thick and as long as the one from the back. So what we do is we carefully select the single grafts, try to match them with the with the baby hair that they have in the front and put them in layers. So it looks like gentle transition in their hairline. But one more thing that women need to know, because they only see the before and after photos, they do not see anything in between. In my own experience, women have more chance of having shock loss of the original hair. It is a condition that people temporarily lose their long hair, like the hair shedding. It is temporary and it is spontaneously reversible, but you need to know it beforehand because it might take up to 3 months to 4 months to 6 months to see the hair go back. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Is there actually one hair surgeon that you prefer or admire? And it's a tough question, but I've always loved to ask that.
There are lots of talented hair transplant surgeons in the world, but the one I truly admire is Dr. Norman Orientrick. He is the father of modern hair transplantation. His discovery about the donor dominance theory, which showed that the hair that comes from the back, the healthy hair that comes from the back, will still keep the resistance to hair loss when we move it to the bald area. That is like a foundation of modern hair restoration. Without that theory, we wouldn't have this kind of transplantation nowadays.
No, that's right. But do you see any kind of future for hair transplantation? Is there anything that will probably improve, not even treatments, but something like stem cells or any kind of other techniques or methods that you think are coming out in a couple of years? Because everyone is really keen. Some people would just wait for new treatments to come out to finally fix hair loss.
Understand.
You know.
Yeah, we are in the period of like new things coming up. But to be honest, during the past 10 to 15 years, we have developed a lot. And nowadays, for hair transplant only, this is a very good time of doing it because we can deliver a very, very promising result. However, for the future, right now, AI is already implemented into the donor assessment and also surgical planning, and it is very useful. And for robotics, we already have ARTAS hair transplant robot in the market, but it is used for extraction only. The company is trying to develop the protocol for the implantation as well. So we will see in the future if we can do it easier than what we can
What do you
right
think
now.
about the ARTAS right now?
To be honest, I still prefer human for now, but we cannot tell. Maybe in the next 10 years time, it might be better than human. We cannot tell. But for now, as this is an artistic work, I still prefer human. And for the hair cloning is something we are waiting for as well. It will break all of the limits in terms of like creating as much hair as you want outside your body and implant it.
That's probably the one that everyone waits for.
Yeah, but it's still in research. So the simple advice, you can look for a new technology, but do not ignore your hair right now. Use the science nowadays to keep your hair and do whatever you can. Don't just look for new technology. It might not fast enough to fix your problem.
Yeah, I think that's a really valuable advice. This would have been my last question, actually. What would you tell people that want to have a hair transplant? What is the only one advice that people know that really want to do a hair transplant?
Can it be 2?
It can be 2. It can be 3 even. Yeah, even better.
Okay, so the first advice is choose the right surgeon the first time, because you do it the first time, it's like a blank canvas. It's easy to draw anything. The repair work is very difficult and sometimes it is impossible. So take your time, do more research, ask questions. Do not just choose a surgeon to do it for you just one day. It takes 1 year to see the final result. So find someone who will accompany you throughout that 1 year. Of course, the experience matters. Natural results matter, but choose the one you trust, the one who is willing to answer all of your questions. And remember, hair transplant is not magic. It is just part of long-term treatment. It doesn't depend on the surgeon alone. They do the transplant, but it also depends on you to be consistent with the medical treatment in order to get the long-lasting result. and your own future.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, thank you so much. That's super valuable. Thanks for having me, and thanks for giving me an amazing future with amazing hair. And that's it, guys. Let's wrap this up, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Okay, ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thanks.